Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. Like a lot of Christians, when I first read in probably the King James translation or something like it, the parable of the talents, I thought that God was talking about my ability to sing, or my ability to talk, or my ability to do woodworking, or play the guitar, or whatever. I thought of all these talents that I might have. Only later did I realize that a talent was not at all any of that. The parable of the talents that we find in the Gospels is actually about money. A talent was a huge sum of money. And what the parable is telling us is what we are called to do with our giving. Our giving is intended to be that which we have from God. Remember, the talents were given to three servants, three different amounts, and the master who owned the talents went away. So all of the funds that we have been given in our lives come from God. They belong to God. And then God expects us to use them wisely. And that's the tricky part. You see, one of the folks who had 5 talents invested them and grew them to 10 talents. Another who had 2 talents invested them and had 4 talents when the master returned. The other one said, I knew, master, that you earned where you didn't reap and sow and all that kind of stuff, and so I buried it. You didn't even get any interest. It didn't even keep up with inflation. I buried it. I kept it safe. Here is the thing to learn from this, is that we are called to be about giving of ourselves in the way that we have been given. To those who've been given much, God expects you to give much. That's a part of your relationship with God. To those who have been given a little bit, you're expected to give a little bit. And to those who think that they can hoard it together and keep it safe, well, the parable ends with a rather tragic part of that. You see, the servant who buried the treasure, his treasure gets taken away from him, or his talent, and it is given to the one who has 10, making it now 11. You see, God does not reward us for playing it safe. God rewards us for playing it wise. We have to be wise in how we handle our finances. I think one of the best lessons I've ever learned in my life is the lesson of living within my means, which is not 100% of my income. Living within my means means that I live within that 60% of my income. It means I have to save a lot occasionally. It means that I honestly strive never to use a credit card, because that's always living beyond my means. It means that I give of myself. I take seriously that idea of 10%. And giving to the church and giving to something that I'm passionate about, because I believe it makes an impact. Having this conversation with God helped me understand this. And it took me time to get there. I had to grow in my giving. At first, my giving was small. And then every year, I gave more and more and more, and lived within my means more and more and more. And what I amazingly found was that by contributing, by giving, not only did I not miss what I had given, but I also found that I had so much more joy, blessing. It didn't seem like I had to struggle as much financially. I just needed to live within kind of guidelines that God gave me. It's the same way with these parables. The parable of the talents is about God giving and sharing a blessing with us so that we could be wise with what we have and find that we bless others through it. We can be better together. Amen.